Hello everyone and welcome to... I went to way too many concerts in October and now I'm gonna share it all with you. October was a massive month for me. You've already seen my PAX vlog that came out pretty much the week after we attended PAX. All around PAX, somehow, all of these artists came together and went, you know what? I'm gonna ruin pastelsparkles' life. What the heck? 3 concerts, most of them midweek. I'm really starting to feel it. You know, I'm turning 30 this week, the week that I am recording this. And hey, let's just say, my body wasn't built for this like it once was. But hey, we persist for the love of music, right? I saw The Weeknd, Olivia Rodrigo, and Travis Scott all within October. I wanted to take you all with me in a kind of big combined video. So it's all in one convenient video, so if this is for you, it's available, and if it's not for you, then that's totally fine. I'll see you in the next video. As always, there will be timestamps at the bottom, so if there's an artist that you don't care for, hey, just skip to the next one. That's all good with me. Without much further ado, let's just jump right into it. First, we saw The Weeknd. We saw The Weeknd on the first Sunday of October. It was The Weeknd's After Hours Until Dawn tour, which was meant to actually come to Australia, I believe in 2023. And then it was just postponed indefinitely, and we were like, well, you know, I guess the show of a lifetime, essentially, we just won't be able to experience it. That really sucks, but you know, that is the way it is. It was very like chrome inspired, and there were like big structures that were in kind of the stadium floor space. It looks really cool. And I was so excited about it. And then a few months ago, he's like, guys, do you remember how I wanted to tour? Let's get it back on and let's not go to Brisbane anymore and just go to Sydney and Melbourne. Heartbreak for Queensland fans of The Weeknd, I think. And as you guys might have seen in my previous concert vlog, we actually saw The Weeknd perform in Sao Paulo. I don't know if it was marketed as an After Hours Until Dawn tour, but we went to the cinema to see it thanks to Live Nation, who hosted that. When we were watching it, I'm pretty sure, because he had also just announced his album, his next album, we were like, oh, I wonder if he'll change the set list and change a lot of the visuals for this tour that he's now bringing to Australia, now that he's shown us all of this in Sao Paulo. So do you think that the stage is inspired by the new album?
I think that was a one-off stage for the new album. I think the show we're going to see will be the stage he's been doing the whole time.
Regardless of whether or not it was the same, I knew that I was going to have an amazing time because The Weeknd is one of those performers, like, he has been around for such a long time. He is so practiced. He is so tested. Like, also being there is so different to watching a recording or a stream of it. So I knew that we were going to have a unique experience and I was going to love it either way. So definitely not a waste to me at all. We definitely had different seats from when we originally bought tickets for that show that was postponed. We had much better seats for that show. And this one we were just like, well, we don't know if he's going to cancel again. So we'll just get any seats as long as we kind of like them. I'm sure it'll be fine and we'll enjoy ourselves. So Marvel Stadium is a 3-tiered stadium and we were on the top third, kind of in the nosebleeds, honestly. Like, we were probably, I want to say 10 rows from the back of the stadium. And if you see my footage, the view's not that bad at all. I always discount being in the nosebleeds. I always think that like, oh, well, I'm not going to be able to see anything, you know, even on the screens, it's a bit of a struggle. It's going to be hard, whatever. I'm kind of changing my tune on that. If it's an artist that I really want to make sure I'm up in it for, I'll pay a little bit more money to make sure I get like kind of the best seats I can. But those nosebleed seats, they're kind of good. I wanted to show you a shorty little clip of my outfit and kind of how I styled my makeup. The Weeknd's kind of color scheme is black and red. And I'm really not a red girly, like, at all. But I wore a really elite lip combo and I want to talk about it. I wore Max Creme in Your Coffee lipstick, which is a beautiful color. I love it so much. I can't recommend it enough. And I topped it with the MCO Beauty's lip balm in Berry. It kind of gave a like cherry Coke kind of vibe. I kept my eyeshadow on theme. And I actually really liked how it turned out. I thought it looked cute. And you know that I'm not gonna go to a concert without my loops. I always feel so much better for it, and both for sensory kind of reasons as well as just overall ear health. I really can't recommend them enough. I'm not sponsored or anything, but if you would like to sponsor me, loop, There's someone who has autism. Loops are kind of one of those essential items for me where if I just need to tune everything out, pop them in and I'm golden. And especially at concerts, they're just the best. The opener act for the weekend was Mike Dean, who I believe is a producer and he's produced for a lot of different kind of hip hop style music. I'm not super familiar with him, if I can be completely honest. He's obviously worked with The Weeknd. And when he was playing, he pretty much was playing a seemingly random selection of just hip hop songs. I asked him later, I don't think they were all songs that he worked on. So it was just kind of a little jam sesh. Then of course,
ladies and gentlemen, The Weeknd.
If I can be really honest and vulnerable with you all for a moment, when I was looking at this footage to edit it, I was getting so emotional. This concert truly was so impactful to me. There's so many moments from this concert where I really I feel like I'm just levitating off the ground. Like I get full body chills. This is, I would say, on par with my experience with the Eras tour, which I know that might sound crazy, but I really love The Weeknd. The energy in the room was just insane.
The crowd will scream, the crowd will scream my name. When it breaks, make me alive. I'm dreaming, it feels so right.
Of all the performances in the kind of intro part, there is no better feeling than the way Take My Breath starts. And then following that, Sacrifice. Like both of those songs, those performances were just stellar. They were just elite. Like there's nothing like that. I believe we were the second show for Melbourne. The night before, there was an incident where someone ran on the stage and like the stage was actually quite high. So they not only ran over the barricade, they ran through the security area and then launched themselves onto the stage, that's quite difficult. And then went and like hugged Abel on stage. Thank God that didn't happen again. And he did bring it up at our show like, hey, let's not do that again.
And I don't care if we're running out of time, Melbourne. I'm gonna do this all night. Let's not run on the stage tonight, though.
I love you guys, but I do feel like we got really lucky with our crowd. A lot of our crowd was kind of similar age to us, and I would say that the split of gender identities was definitely much more varied than the kind of other hip hop kind of adjacent artists that I've been to, and that'll come up later. Fair warning. It was a very comfortable crowd. I felt very safe. I felt very energized, which is exactly what you want when you go to a concert. There was a few moments in the show that didn't happen before in the tour and didn't happen again on the Sydney shows. Although Sydney, I think they got the best shows and I'm just not gonna think about it. But we got a performance of Creepin', which it wasn't originally on the set list. And then we got 2 extra encore songs that were different to the ones that were on the previous show, and there was also fireworks. There was like a whole production. It was definitely like they had the capability to do it, obviously, but it didn't seem necessarily as planned as the rest of the show was. Like you could tell it was a bit more bare bones, if you understand me, than the rest of the show. So it really felt special. It felt very spur of the moment kind of that he was doing it, which was really, really neat. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but during my Twitch days, I was posting a lot on TikTok. That was kind of one of the main ways that I launched on Twitch, which happens to a lot of people. But one of the TikToks that was kind of my most popular was featuring Blinding Lights by The Weeknd. And so even though that song is like super popular, arguably the most popular song like currently, that song is like really special to me in a kind of more unique way because that song launched me a little bit further into like being well known on Twitch. And so seeing that live was also very like, oh my God. so nice and it reminds me of such a precious time to me. So that was just a really special moment in the show. And also he does this really funny thing where when he talks, he talks and it's all at the same pitch and at the same volume. And unless you kind of know what he's saying, it's almost entirely unintelligible. So like there'll be times where he'll like ad-lib in a song, say like the city that he's in or say the country. Like so for Sacrifice, he goes instead of, ooh baby, he goes, Australia. Which is like, yeah, you can hear that. But then when he's like, I can't run, what are you gonna do? Put the hands up again. It's like Donnie from the Wild Thornberrys. I was like, surely my phone recording is going to like maybe be able to make out what he's saying because I certainly can't. So hey, that was lost to time. I may never know what he was trying to say there. Truly an unforgettable night. I had such an amazing time at the Weeknd. I am desperate and eager to see him again. I thought that the stage was phenomenal. It was the same as the Sao Paulo show with that big kind of castle thing in the middle. His stage presence, I just thought that was so good. His voice, obviously incredible. I feel very blessed. I've gotten to see two of the greatest performers, two of the most experienced performers this year in Taylor Swift and The Weeknd, and I will say that it's definitely set the bar really high for me, and it's certainly set the bar for these concerts this month like really high. Take everything that I say with the next ones with a bit of a grain of salt because I got to see one of my favorite artists this month and I got to see him perform just perfectly, and so that's gonna have an effect on the rest of them. Okay, like I'm just gonna be completely open and honest with you. Hey. So let's get moving on to Olivia Rodrigo. So Sunday, The Weeknd. Following that on the Wednesday was Olivia Rodrigo, which I will remind, this was the week of PAX. So 2 days after the Olivia Rodrigo show, I was going to PAX, which again, you've seen. I was tired. When we were buying the tickets for Olivia Rodrigo, we didn't get through the first few sales and we were just like, I'm so angry that we're not going to be going to this show because this show, especially from what we had already been seeing from the US tour, oh, it was looking so good. It was looking so hype. It was looking so fun. And I was like, I'm just going to be devastated if we don't get to go. And then another round of tickets came through that were obscured seating. I don't know if I've ever gone to Rod Laver Arena and had obscured seating before, but I just wanted to be there, right? So I wasn't that bothered by it. I was like, as long as I can see the stage and I can see her, I don't necessarily care. So I was putting my tickets in my cart. And I'm like, okay, it's about $100 per ticket. That's fine. And then I come out of the checkout and I'm like, why the fuck did I pay $400 for these tickets? Huh? So it turns out I had actually bought 2 pairs of tickets. I bought one for the Wednesday night and then one for the Thursday. Not only did I not have tickets prior and was so devastated that through all the rounds I wasn't able to get them, I managed to get way more than I needed. So we ended up selling those off. But you know, hey, God bless me a little bit too hard for that one. Next time, just do it a normal amount. And maybe next time, allow me to get tickets to Hosier because I'm still fucking pissed off we're not going to Hosier. But anyone that is going to Rod Laver for a show, you know, maybe it's not going to be the same stage setup for everyone, whatever. Typically, they don't have side screens. But if you're on the side in an obscured view, hey, your view's very obscured. Unless you don't care that you're missing out on this green on the stage, then go ahead and get those obscured tickets for those arenas. But if you do care that you're missing out on kind of a huge chunk of the show, don't get those tickets. It doesn't matter that they're cheap, don't get those tickets unless you like desperately have to be there for something. If it was Taylor Swift, which she would never perform in an arena, but if it was her, I would do it because I just want to be there. I don't care what it looks like. I kind of had that same feeling for Olivia, but I don't know. Now coming out of it, I probably wouldn't go and do that again. So the opener was Benny, which I was pretty excited about going into it. I'm pretty familiar with their music. They were fun. I will say they were fun. I have been very blessed with openers in the past. You know, I had Sabrina Carpenter on the Eras tour. I had Grant Perez for Laver. I had Wet Leg for Harry Styles. You know, all of these artists are very, 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 very different sizes of fame, but all of them fantastic performers, especially in like the crowd that they were working with. You know, like they really worked to the crowd. Like, especially thinking about Grant Perez, right? We were at the Palais Theatre, and even though it was, you know, a smaller venue, he was eating up the room. You know, fantastic. I don't know. I don't know, like crowd working, the presence on stage, maybe it's just because I didn't see the screen, but hey, we can't lean on the screen so much. Her stage presence was just kind of okay. She was kind of just shuffling around the stage, and I want to be completely honest with you, a lot of it was just hey girlying at the crowd. Which is fine, but I don't know. You'll see when we get to Olivia Rodrigo, but there's a difference between like having like it feels like you're having a conversation with the artist, and then like, I don't know, like just a different vibe. I thought it was still fun, don't get me wrong. I really liked being able to see them, but it was definitely a bit more of a mid performance than I was expecting. But now next up, Olivia. What a treat to be able to see her live, truly. The energy in the room was just crazy. And I want to say, the roof was on. I have never, ever, ever been to a louder concert before. That was actually crazy. Like if I didn't have my loops, I would have been deaf going out of there. I would have tinnitus and I would never recover. Like that, it was so loud in there. I really cannot overstate it. If you went to any of the Olivia shows, hey, did you lose your hearing? Because I wouldn't be surprised if you did. And not like because of speakers or anything. It's literally the crowd is so loud, which is really exciting and must be so exciting for Olivia because she would have been able to hear all those people screaming for her. That's so exciting. Oh, that really touched my heart, having that little realization. The kind of arena-ness of it all reminded me of like the Speak Now tour, the Taylor Swift Speak Now tour, which I'm a huge fan of because it felt really intimate and it felt like she could see everyone. And, you know, when I was saying before about how Benny didn't feel like, it was kind of like, you know, artists having a conversation with the audience. With Olivia, it really felt like she was like, hey, we're all besties and we're gonna party together and we're gonna sing my songs. It really felt like it was just kind of you and like maybe 5 other people in the room and we're all just jumping around and being silly, goofy girls. Like that is so fun. That is just so fun. I would say overall, I had a really, really good time watching Olivia. Like if I could nitpick, you know, she's not at the same level as Taylor Swift, The Weeknd, but she's also not been performing as long as them either. So I don't expect for her to have that level of performance in her tour. She's only performed for how long? Not that many years, really. So, you know, I can't expect it, but like she has such a stage presence. Like the whole time, eyes are glued on her, and not just because, you know, you bought tickets to go, but like she commands the stage, which is very impressive. You know, very, very, very impressive.
Can you sing it?
Vocally, she is just okay right now. She's pretty good. She's able to hold her voice most of the time, but it does kind of also sound like she's just yelling at the crowd. There's definitely a balance that probably at some stage needs to be made there, but it didn't make for a worse show the way that she was performing it. So I don't get it twisted. I still had a good time and I still liked how she performed it. Anyway, so you guys know that I am a really big fan of storytelling and narrative for concerts. I talk about it a lot on this channel. I talked about it a lot when I talked about Taylor's tours. Now it's definitely something that I value highly in my shows. Now, Olivia is doing a different kind of show. She's definitely more rock inspired. inspired than pop. It was definitely kind of School of Rock. That's actually a really great comparison. It was kind of like School of Rock, which is a compliment. How do I say this in the nicest way possible? Her backing dancers, I don't know what everyone's comments have been online about this. I tried to avoid seeing stuff about the concert before I went because I didn't want to have it spoiled for me. Her dances don't suit her show at all. I'm not saying that her dances are bad, don't get me wrong. Her dances would be better suited to an artist like Melanie Martinez, the Dresden Dolls, Regina Spektor even. Artists that have a kind of level of creepiness to them, kind of the Tumblification of artists. It was like completely at odds with most of the show, I want to say. They kind of looked like Silent Hill nurses, just wiggling around, like kind of like unpredictably. It was unnerving for a lot of it. So yeah, I don't know what the choice was. There were some songs that definitely looked really good though. I want to say Lacey was extremely impressive. I actually really, really loved it, and I thought that the styling for the dances was really, really good. But for Pretty Isn't Pretty, Getting Back, that was crazy to look at. That was scary, honestly. And I feel very unsettled looking back at these videos. It's a mystery to me why this was decided upon. And I wonder if having the back screen would have made this design choice make sense. From what I imagine, just based on the aesthetics of Olivia's kind of albums and what she's done for music videos, I kind of imagine, you know, that crumpled newspaper kind of stop motion animation. That's kind of what I imagine is on the back screen, other than it being her. But like if there's any animations, it's kind of like that, like, you know, staticky kind of newspaper unrolling and rolling kind of thing. And that still wouldn't really suit that style to me. So I'm definitely gonna need to watch the Guts Tour concert video when it goes up on Netflix, which I'm filming this a day before it comes out. So I'm definitely gonna insert my reaction to it here and let you know if I think it did fix it. Not really. Was I watching the 1989 tour film? Because the editing on this thing was crazy. And it also didn't explain the dances. So there you go. My opinion hasn't changed with further context. By far my favorite moment of the tour was the moon chair that she got in. It was the most stunning thing that I have maybe ever seen at a concert. It was beautiful. The whole time, the moon and the stars kind of glittering down from the ceiling. My mouth was just open and I was glued to her. I was filming on my phone like, what are we doing? She was like a princess, like a fairy tale going around. Definitely a highlight for me.
On the count of 3, I'm gonna need you guys to scream as loud as you fucking can. Can you do that for me? Ready? 3, 2, 1!
The crowd for this show was much younger than I was expecting. Like the average age I want to say was probably 18. And I'm 10 years older than that. I'm gonna be sick. Just put me in the home already. You know, I'm tired, guys. That's not a bad thing, obviously. Not a bad thing in the slightest. It doesn't matter how old you are, you should be allowed to enjoy music. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Don't get it twisted. There is a level of concert etiquette that people who didn't go to concerts before COVID, they just don't have. Especially with the rise of TikTok. We are so online, right? I don't want to sound like an old woman or a boomer. I don't want to sound like a boomer. Hey, sticking your phone in people's faces with your torch on, sticking your arm all the way out and smacking the person next to you, or getting up out of your seat and getting down, and I don't mean getting up and staying up in the spot that your seat is. I mean getting up, going down the aisle, and to get out, to go, I don't know, piss, come back. Hey, you're a fucking adult. piss before the show. Like, what are we doing? I have never had so many people get up and get down in front of me. This was so fucking annoying. I don't mind if people are filming. I'm filming. Don't get it twisted. I don't want to sound like a hypocrite. I was filming the whole thing. You're seeing evidence of it. But I had my phone here and I had my phone here. How intrusive is that gonna be on the people around me? Not very. And I got no flash on, nothing. I know I don't want other people's experience to be tampered by me having my fucking phone out, right? So if you go to concerts, in your assigned seating, you've been given your seat to sit at. I paid my money to sit here, you paid your money. I want you to have fun. If you want to record yourself a little bit, do it. But don't get in my face. Don't get in my space. Don't ruin my experience for a video that you're probably not even gonna fucking look at later. Like, be for real. If I can impart a little bit of wisdom on the younger generation, be mindful of your space. By all means, be loud. By all means, enjoy yourself, jump up and down, sing your heart out. That's what you're there for, At the point where you're doing so many things that you're not even watching the show at all, and I can't watch the show at all because let's not do that. I didn't pay like $150 or whatever to not see the show. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, rant over. I'm so sorry, everyone. You can come back now. All in all, I had a really good time. I'm very eager to see Olivia Rodrigo again when she eventually comes back. Hopefully she'll be at Marvel Stadium or even a bigger arena when she comes back, because certainly she was able to sell out 4 shows in Melbourne.
Are you still with me,
Let's get on to the final concert, Travis Scott. Now, I want to preface this by saying that I'm not a Travis Scott fan. He is one of the controversial artists that my partner still listens to, despite it all. Let's not think about that. Because my partner went to the Eras tour with me, and he has said multiple times like he would have wanted to go anyway, I didn't push him, and that, he wanted to go because it was a cultural moment, as well as liking Taylor, la 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 la. I still felt like that was my artist. The other artists that we've gone to see have been both of our artists, That was mine, and now I will spend money to go see one of his because I think it's just fair. It wasn't a huge cost for us. Just like the Weeknd, we were on the 3rd row, although we were much closer to the railing this time. I think originally our seats were $300. Because the show didn't sell out, they reduced the tickets heaps. And our tickets were only $80. And I think actually the day before there were still tickets and they were like $30. So, hey, just wait for some of these shows. But yeah, I was like, Travis Scott, the things that I know about him, Astro World. What do I know about it? People died. And I was like, hey, it's been a few years since then. Surely the crowd is better. Surely the conditions are better. Surely Travis is able to control the crowd in a sense, or create a culture in the crowd that is less harmful, less dangerous. So it'll be at least an interesting show for me to go to, whether I like the music or not, or care or not, whatever. I like concerts. I'm gonna go to a concert if I've got the opportunity, you know what I'm saying? I was wrong. Hey, I'll be the first to admit it. I was wrong. Oh my God. I don't know if you guys have seen any of the footage of what happened at the Melbourne shows for Travis Scott, but it was mayhem. It was the most chaotic experience that I've ever had going to a concert ever. And I've been to, some of the pop and emo shows back in like the 2010s, which were crazy. Or I've been to metal shows, which have been crazy. But I will say there's like a respect at metal shows. Like my metal fans, there's no metal fans in my audience. There's a level of respect that I feel like you have for the fellow man in a metal concert. If you want to get fucked up, you're gonna go in the pit. Like, that's just something that If you want to have a good time and just enjoy the music or whatever, you'll be a little bit further back out of the action, right? The videos that were coming out from the Melbourne show was just so much vandalism. The crowds outside trying to get into Marvel Stadium, they were picking up fencing that, you know, was separating all of them so that they were all just one mob. I didn't see this going in, but I remember when we were lining up, we were actually kind of late to come to this show. There was still a lot of people funneling in to Marvel Stadium. But when we were going through security, the security guards were very clearly just getting people in and like getting them out of there because they weren't fussing with anyone. I should have taken that as a sign of what was to come. You know how you do the arms out, bag out, and they'll go tap, 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 tap. One side, get in there. They'd be like, I don't care about the back. Don't turn around, just get inside. Seen it like that. That was crazy. They didn't look at my bag. They didn't care. They were just like, get inside. Just get inside. When we're seated, it is mayhem. There's so much to tell you. I feel like I'm so scattered. I even wrote a script and I'm still so scattered about this. Fights were breaking out in GA. There were people running from assigned seating into GA, running past security guards at full speed, trying to run into GA so that they could be hidden and not be caught by the security guards. Security guards obviously chase after them and people were getting punched out. Security guards were getting punched out to the point where cops had to be called and cops were then chasing people that were coming from assigned seating into GA. And every time like a cop or a security guard like got the person that ran in, the whole crowd is booing and I'm just like, what do you mean? Don't get it twisted. I'm the first person to boo a cop for doing the wrong thing. In this instance, the cop is doing the one job that they have and we're booing them. It genuinely felt like if you've seen any Logan Paul, Jake Paul, Jack Doherty, vlogs, streams, whatever, that it was like being in a room full of only that kind of person. And I think I mentioned before, the Weeknd's kind of spread of gender identity that was happening in there was very, very mixed. I would say because of that, it felt much safer. Travis Scott, 90% dudes. Like 90%, I'm pretty confident to say 90% guys. I felt so unsafe. I've never felt so unsafe at a concert. It was awful. Tim gets up in like the gap between the opener and Travis coming out and goes, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, is that okay? And I'm like, yeah. In my mind, alarm, all alarms are off. All alarms are going off. I'm going crazy. I feel so unsafe. Everyone is annoying. Everyone is loud. I look to my right and there is a mother and two, maybe 13-year-old sons. And I'm like, how are you here? And why did you bring your sons here? This is hell. This is actually what my hell looks like. Like, I think I experienced afterlife. In that moment, hey, I will believe in God to know that I don't have to go back to a Travis Scott concert. That's how genuinely terrifying it was. It was like being in a stadium full of exclusively kick streamers. Oh my God. You know how like at concerts they have those like report antisocial behavior signs and it's all like people that are being dickheads? You would have probably been able to report 80% of the crowd because there was people that were like punching out security guards and like there was a lot, like there were people that were hospitalized at our show. We genuinely didn't know if the show was going to go on. But hey, guess what? That's not where my ranting for this show ends. Just from a like scheduling perspective, the concert started at 8 p.m. That was when the first act came out. I don't even know who it was. He went on at 8 and I think Tim said he's only got a few songs, so he's probably not gonna go for very long. Yeah, he probably went for no more than 20 minutes and that's assuming that he went on time. Hey, any guesses for when Travis Scott comes on? 9:20. So for a whole hour, there's nothing happening on the stage. Why are we here? That is like literally the worst planning in that kind of interim between the two performers. It was just this like cicada sounds. I remember when we were there for like the first 10 minutes and I'm hearing it, I'm like, who's playing that? Who's playing that on their phone? Because at that point I was like, this audience is annoying. It must be someone playing it on their phone. Tim turns to me and goes, babe, that's on the speaker. And I'm like, what do you mean that's on the speaker? That is the most annoying sound ever. I feel like I'm so annoying right now, but I cannot tell you how bad this show was. It's unfathomable for me to think that some people spent $300 for my seat and you're gonna get a 20-minute show and then you're gonna get an hour and a half show, maybe, from Travis Scott after with a gap of an hour in the middle? What are we doing? That shows just such a lack of respect for your audience. Like you literally just don't care. We did only pay $80 for our tickets. So the fact that I have made it out of here alive, you know, I'm happy about that. I got to see the show, ultimately, for better or for worse. So I don't really feel like I wasted money necessarily because it was an experience. So what was the show like?
Please come to the token. Before the show starts, open that show. Please come to the token. Before the show starts, open that show.
So Tim had told me that from the US shows, there was a lot more going on the stage. There was like rock formations and stuff all around the stage. And for this Australian tour, or at least since they left the US, the stage had been a little bit different. There was 2 rocks on the stage, but the stage was kind of like zigzagged and had a little bridge moment where he would like walk over. It was a security line, but it kind of looked like he could walk over the crowd. One thing that he does at these shows is he brings people on stage. And I was like, whoa, that's really interesting. I wonder what he's gonna do. And so then I see it.
You have been selected to ride the parasite.
He just brings like 5 people out from the crowd onto the stage and they kind of just like walk around with him. It's not like he really interacts with him. There was a like huddle moment that they did. Yeah, I don't understand it. In the kind of first few songs, one of the songs that I actually liked by Travis Scott was played, which is Modern Jam.
Let's go! Everybody in this bitch, 2 hands to the side!
It's probably one of my favorite songs on Utopia, especially on the first listen that I had. But something that I noticed at that point and then for the rest of the show was he like never sings. He like, not like he raps. His mouth to the microphone nearly doesn't happen for like, I want to say half of the show.
Baby, biscuit! I like it better! Baby, only fan! Think you don't need a can.
And to add to that, he plays like 40 seconds of every song that he plays. He almost doesn't play any song in its entirety. And it was throwing me off so crazy. And even like he played Praise God from Kanye's Donda album. And I know Kanye West music. So I was excited to hear that song. I was like, oh my God. And like, because obviously it has that viral bit that was on the TikToks that even if you're not ready for the day, there will always be night. Blah, blah, skirt.
Even if you
Say it.
it cannot.
Let's go! Sir!
It goes through the first 30 seconds, gone. What? What is this TikTok Malaka bullshit? What are we doing? I will say, like, one thing that I did really enjoy about the show was actually the pyro stuff. There was a lot of pyro. I want to say like nearly every song had pyrotechnics. There was fire everywhere. And there was even like fireworks. Like, I mean, there was fireworks, yes. But then there was like a firework that was on like a line. Someone might have to explain this one to me. But it was going from like a light to another light all the way across GA. And then came back in 3. And I was like, whoa. I didn't film it because I was too busy going, yeah. I had that reaction at a Travis Scott concert. If I can speak openly and honestly, there were a lot of parts that I did enjoy about the show. I thought that Travis was very funny on stage. I thought that there were a lot of visuals that were really fun. I thought that a lot of the visuals on the screen at the back of the stage were really good and they matched the songs. I really liked the graphic design. Like I said, I liked the pyro. I thought it was very funny that he played Fiend 5 times. So he played some songs for 30 or 40 seconds of the song, and he played Fiend 5 times, which, like, to be fair, that is really funny. That's just funny. I was really excited to see Goosebumps before the show. I just kept going to my partner. I got those goosebumps every time, yeah. Just stupid, like it's just stupid, but it was stuck in my head. And so I was excited to see it perform live. I'm pretty sure that was also shortened. And then the final song was the song that he has with SZA, which he didn't sing at all. He just left the stage. He just left the stage and walked off. And I've seen shows where he like gets in a car and leaves while he's still singing it, which is funny. Like, that's funny. I'm not judging, that's funny. And like, that is an interesting kind of stage performance. All in all, did I have a good time at the Travis Scott concert? No. Did he do the Fortnite dance? Something that I was pretty excited to see? No. So I did it at the train station. I will say, it took us 2 hours to get home. We live really close to the city. Just to dox myself a little bit there. Certainly not 2 hours to get home kind of travel distance. So it really did add to my annoyance about the night in general, but hey, would I go again? No. Do I regret going? No, I don't regret going, I guess. I did have an interesting time. It was certainly a story. So, hey, there you have it. That was my Travis Scott experience.
Melbourne, I love y'all so much, man. I can't wait to come back here next time. I love y'all so much. This place is so beautiful. Thank y'all for being such an amazing city.
So thank you all so much for hanging out with me today, and thank you for indulging me in a little bit of a different sit-down / vlog scenario. I love talking about concerts and I go to them all the time. If you ever are interested in any of the other concerts I've been to, let me know. I think at the end of the year I want to do a wrap-up of like everything I went to go see and talk about what I loved, what I didn't love. If Travis Scott comes up, it'll be concise, because I've already said it all here. And I will have a normal video up in my next one, so if you hated this, sorry. I got those goosebumps every time, yeah. I got those goosebumps every time, yeah.